Orb presents 20 Years to Midnight.
This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
And welcome to our little episode between guests.
Yeah, fuck you, Gary. No, sorry, I needed to get that. I need to get that combative energy back from Will. Will's not here, so I need to come down.
Yeah, he's off doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Today. Next episode we'll have a guest, and then it's me and Cole solo for the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're in a really good stretch of the Venture Brothers.
We are.
Right now.
This is a fun episode.
The fun episode. Next episode. Fun episode.
Mm-hmm.
This one was this is the one that Will was comparing Escape to the House of Mummies unfavorably to.
Yes.
Which I think is still that is off base even for Will. But I think that it is a really good episode.
Yeah. It is a fun episode. Both of them are really frantic and kind of all over the place in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And I think that they each kind of serve maybe a little bit to show the difference.
Totally.
One of the ways to show the difference between Jackson Publick and Doc Hammer. Like House of Mummies is a real Doc Hammer episode, and this is a real Jackson Publick episode.
Yes. I was going to say that, make that point myself. Like, I think that the difference that you can see is both these episodes are really jam-packed, but Jackson Publick is more concerned with connective tissue and coherence. And Doc Hammer is more concerned with what kind of comedy you can wring out of the lack of those things.
Yes.
And they're both really strong to me.
Yeah. And this is the first episode in a while where we haven't had, it might be the first episode we've seen, First is Such a Fraud Thing, but like this does not have an A story and a B story. Like this is this is all one kind of coherent story that maybe splits up a couple of times as they go about what they're doing. But it sticks together in a way that like later episodes almost exclusively would.
Yeah, this presages a lot of Venture Brothers feelings.
Mm-hmm.
This originally aired on August 6th, 2006. And the premise is Rusty receives a video message from his father that sends him on this kind of globe-trotting scavenger hunt to find pieces of a device that is going to save the world.
Yes. And this is a very, very jam-packed episode. I forgot how much The Impossibles factored into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last appearance of Stephen Colbert until the movie, until All This in Gargantua 2.
Mm-hmm.
So we get The Impossibles. The Pirate Captain came back. We get JJ. This is his first, Jonas Venture Jr., his first highlight episode.
Mm-hmm.
And learning about his how his best cunnilingus filled life.
Yeah, king. You got a king down here.
Yep.
Or down there, I guess. Yeah. Living on, this is the first time we actually see that Spider Skull Island is a place. It's not just a little dialogue joke.
Yeah. This episode, the commentary and reading about it, this came back 4 minutes too long.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode is not only jam-packed now, but a lot was cut from it.
Yes.
Including a whole other little globe trot.
Yeah, they were going to go to Egypt. Rusty was going to dress down some costumed Egyptian henchmen. I don't have time for this bullshit. Basically, the way that they talk about it in the book is he's speaking to every costume person who's ever made his life difficult. Yeah.
Which I'm glad they didn't. They kind of did that in Escape from the House of Mummies.
Yeah. I'm glad.
I'm glad they didn't do that. Richard Impossible, Impossible Plaza, is built on the where the old Venture skyscraper used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that used to be kind of elaborated on instead of just a throwaway line.
Yeah.
Now we learn more about Richard Impossible's backstory and how he built Huggy, his Herbie stand-in, and why. A little wink. We'll talk about Huggy, but Huggy is a wink to Kids for the Fantastic Four cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
In the cartoon, they didn't want kids to set themselves on fire, so they didn't want the Human Torch to be in the cartoon.
Fucking prudes.
Yeah, what's afraid of a little, that's how people in the future are going to get natural gas. We gotta let them do it. But so they didn't want to have that. And then in the Venture Brothers, apparently their Human Torch, was supposed to be dead at this point.
Yeah.
So that's why they built Huggy. I don't know if Cody comes back. I can't remember.
He's only ever a background character. I think he does pop up a couple of times.
Yeah. So that they retconned him being dead.
Yeah.
But that was originally the idea, was he built his wife a new brother.
I do like what they do with Huggy in the absence of that he was.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get there, but just Richard Impossible is a very good Reed Richards takeoff.
He's super good in this one.
Yeah.
Like, just incredible. Downright churlish.
Bit of a giggle puss.
Yeah. It's really, really, really good.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's other like just little like hang around subplots that were cut out. The reason why they paired up, they liked the pirate captain, so they brought him back, and they paired him up with JJ specifically because these two people, JJ, who was stuck in Dr. Venture's stomach, and the pirate captain who was on a ghost pirate ship for 20 years. So they just missed, the 90s and the early 2010s. They were going to catch each other up on stuff.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of this in that episode, and it's very funny, but it was going to be a bigger part of it.
Yeah, just a bigger part of their dynamic. Which in the commentary they talk about it, and I can't tell if they know that they're already doing that. It's like, oh yeah, we wanted two guys who could bullshit about pop culture, and it's like, you have 17 of those. You have 17
like
two
every
guys.
pair of characters. Yeah. Like, every pair of characters in the show is that.
Yeah.
You made him into one guy at one point. You made a two-headed guy who could do that for efficiency. You each play one of the heads.
Yeah.
You magnificent bastards.
Yeah, but I love the story beat where that happens here.
Yeah,
this
really
episode features the the apparent death of Colonel Gentleman. The commentary, they talk about like Doc Hammer when he was trying to get the wheels turning, when he was getting back to writing stuff. He was having trouble, so he kind of like wrote half of a pilot for a spinoff show starring Colonel Gentleman.
Yeah, as an openly gay detective.
Yeah,
hanging out in bathhouses and enjoying openly gay sex.
Yeah,
I'm very glad that Colonel Gentleman isn't dead.
Same,
but I will say that this is my current Colonel Gentleman moment. Like him listing toys as he wished he had when he was a lad.
Yeah.
That's my defining Colonel Gentleman.
It's so
I love that. I love it so much. It's not a joke. I don't really know how to describe what it is, but I love it very much.
Well, it is a very amusing character beat. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would call it a joke because the boys, the boys are
it's clues.
Yeah, they're looking for clues, and they think, okay, we're gonna find something amazing in here. Forget if it's Hank or Dean who said it, but this is the diary of a crazy man.
Yeah, and it's so cute. Colonel Gentleman just like thinking and like, showing him like putting the eraser up to his lip. Like, stay alive, the survival game. God, it's so fucking good.
I live for references to Stay Alive.
It's really, really funny. Again, my definitive Colonel Gentleman, even though he shows up a lot later in the show.
Right. Oh my God. So let's get into it, because there are lots of fun little moments here. Very kind of uneventful cold open. They want to save as much time as possible for the adventure. We open up on this alien looking figure wearing a cyclopean helmet. He appears over the Venture compound, scanning it and finding a heat signature of Rusty on the toilet.
Yep. This is our Grand Galactic Inquisitor. He'll be introduced later.
Ignore me.
Ignore me. Very, catchphrasy. He's great. He's kind of a cross between Galactus, the Living Tribunal, and the Watcher from Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
So big reference energy. Uatu.
Yeah.
You ought to read more comics if you don't know who the Watcher is. Brock is vacuuming the rumpus room. And he discovers a little file box and radios Rusty on the toilet and says, you might want to see this. And that's it. There's no jokes or anything in the cold open. Because again, it's fast forward.
Yeah. So this box just kind of gets passed around from person to person. This box that was just kind of sealed up in the 70s or the 60s. Brock has already gotten into it, and he found a t-shirt, one of Rusty's old t-shirts that is ridiculously too tight on him. It's like a
very
sky
good.
blue t-shirt with like a chocolate chip cookie on the front of it.
You're stretching it out. He's like, it's been there for 20 years. Dean finds another sweater vest, which I love how happy he is.
Yep.
But the plot important thing is a camcorder, of Jonas Venture addressing Rusty. He said, I always knew you were my little video buff. And Rusty does, this is very relatable. He says, you said once you wanted to make videos and every gift was cameras. I'm sympathetic to both sides in that, as a kid that happened to me, but also if I imagine myself having a kid, it's like, if a kid said he liked Micronauts, like he's only getting Micronauts. What else am I getting? What else do I know?
Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to make you
a father like him.
Yeah. I'm trying to make you happy.
Like you tell me the things you fucking want. Don't make me guess.
Oh man. But yes, this is relatable from both sides. Hank, on hearing this, tries to tell his dad, like, speaking of that, Pa, I don't really like neckerchiefs very much. Yeah. But he's not here. He's just being ignored. Jonas, he had made this video as a message for Rusty, talking about these deep space radio waves that he discovered when Rusty was a little boy. And we get a flashback to cute little kid Rusty trying to get his dad's attention.
Yeah, like he's just like, you remember Rusty, and it shows his dad doing science, and Rusty is like stepping on the carpet, and the voice performance is very like, you can't step on the red ones because they're lava. It's like so cute. Really, really good. So it took him 10 years to translate the broadcast, and it was a message to him about this invention that mankind was not ready for.
Yes. Yeah, like he had made something, and then these aliens like, no, this is too much. Please dismantle this, but you need to keep it, the pieces of it around because it needs to be activated once to save mankind.
Yep. So they scattered it across the globe, so that's our MacGuffin. That's our plot structure. Mm-hmm. In the present, the Grand Galactic Inquisitor appears through the window. And Jonas plays a little joke like the bad guys broke in on him, but he's like, no, false alarm. Here are the coordinates. There's a good bit here with Hank too, where he first sees his grandpa and goes, he's in the Phantom Zone. And Rusty's like, even you can't be that stupid. And he's like, I was joking, So again, kind of like, I like that. That is a very funny joke if Hank was making that on purpose.
Oh yeah. It's just like he doesn't understand that somebody could be on a screen and not trapped in there like it's a fucking mist book.
Yep.
Oh man. But the alien's peering through, and this is where we like kind of the first time we get a sense of how big he is. Dean points out to him like, Dad, big man. And of course, Rusty immediately thinks that Dean's come over through. I'm like, yeah, Dean, you're a real big man. No, but it's this alien who's 12 feet tall. And has, I think, 7 fingers and 2 opposable thumbs. There's an opposable thumb on both sides.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing specimen, the Grand Galactic Inquisitor.
Yeah.
We get a bunch of great exclamations in this episode. The first of which is Rusty saying, Ladysmith Black Mambazo, as he sees it. Brock, big guy in the pool.
It's like, Brock, there's a 12-foot alien pointing a beam at me. Aren't you supposed to do something?
Yeah, do something. And this is the Grand Galactic Inquisitor's like shtick. He says he's got this voice that's incredibly unpleasant. Like everyone can hear it in their balls. Like really, really loud, saying he's there to observe the ways of humanity. He hears all, sees all, and yells at them not to alter their behavior in any way. Starting the kind of the joke of this episode is when he doesn't feel like talking back, he just yells at people to ignore him. Ignore me. Incredibly good.
Very good. They do a very good job of forgetting about him. They just kind of like have him along like he's a little kid shadowing on Bring Your Kid to Work Day.
Yeah. And the little like pairing him up with Rocket is very funny.
Yeah, very good.
To me. That's a really cute part. Like I love the Grand Galactic Inquisitor quite a bit.
Yeah. So the first piece is on Spider Skull Island, and Rusty is pretty dismayed that he's going to have to go talk to his brother. Yeah. God, jeez. Yep. So he's going to try not to talk to him at all. They're going to break in.
Yep. Yeah, that's the idea. And they're going to have to split up at this point. They don't split up yet, but that's the eventual idea. Yeah. The kids are going through the file box and find a letter that Rusty wrote to the Herculoids. He's like, oh, Dad was a fan of the Herculoids. They called them hippies for not fighting in Vietnam. That's great because if you know what the Herculoids are, you think it's
blobs.
Yeah, there's a big blob, a little blob, a weird horse with 10 legs, and then a fourth thing I can't remember. But the Herculoids are one of Hanna-Barbera's weirdest fucking things. The idea of gotta get those Herculoids in on the fight. It's also on rewatch I was like, oh, this is clever because this is echoing Johnny Quest existing in the world. Like all that Hanna-Barbera shit existed in the world.
Yeah Love it.
So they're going to Spider Skull Island. They didn't tell JJ, and Rusty walks in on JJ going down on a woman he met in Ibiza at the science conference.
Yeah.
Rusty, they lost the invitation for Rusty.
Yeah. JJ going full Playboy at this point. Just very obviously, like everything that Rusty lacks, JJ has in spades. He's got he's wearing the smoking jacket and he's zipping around on a jetpack. I love that they the initial plan for JJ was for him to walk around in like a mechanical human body. Just having him in the jetpack is very good to me. Yeah. In the book, they talk about how JJ, he doesn't have to compensate for ways his life has failed him because he doesn't let his wet life fail him. He's the opposite of Rusty. Yeah,
he doesn't blame any of his disadvantages.
Yeah, he doesn't blame the obstacles. He just gets over them.
Yeah, which is really nice little bit of characterization there.
Yeah.
Brock runs into the pirate captain who's there, who lives on the X2. They're taking the boat, and he explains, that he's JJ lets him live there. He's like, hey, the little guy who your dad ate when he was wee. Like they get a really good little quick explanation of this.
Oh yeah. Brock is like, what the hell are you doing on my boat? And he's like, well, I'm the captain of this thing, so kind of it's my boat.
My more boat than yours.
So it's great that they brought the pirate captain back. He is such a major character for the rest of the series, and they never give him a name. And he always talks like a pirate, even though he eventually becomes like a tech CEO. It's very good.
His pirate days are over, but you can take the man out of the seas, but you can't take the seas out of the man.
It's just who he is.
They watch the tape and JJ is basically saying like, we have to split up.
Yeah.
I do have a pitch at the Pentagon tomorrow, but this is more important. You have 24 hours to get all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Or 20 hours or whatever. You're going to need help.
Yeah.
And JJ and Brock go over Doc's head and start working out the logistics. You think of 3 teams, just immediately takes charge.
Yes. So 3 teams. We're going to have JJ and the pirate captain, Brock and Rusty, and then Hank and Dean are going to go in the XX1. This is intercut for a little while. I just kind of separated them out to make sense. I love that Hank and Dean are just they're in love with the new plane. Like, oh, this is so much cooler than ours. We have Space Invaders in the lounge, and there's a lounge.
It's also just like sending Hank and Dean out to do that is very funny to me. So their subplot is to find Colonel Gentleman's place in Morocco.
Because One Piece was left with him.
Yeah, Hank says, "Are you to home?"
Yeah,
very fun.
Hank being a little forum boy.
Before that was like the darkest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Now Hank would get radicalized as hell.
Oh, and instantly. I'm telling you, Pop. And then I can't finish that joke because it would literally be doing hate speech.
Yeah, sad. Like
it's like he's channeling live crazy people.
Yeah, just like 8-kun, say it. 8-kun, 8-kun.
I thought it was 8-chan.
So we reveal that Colonel Gentleman is dead here. He's not actually dead. He's in a diabetic coma due to Malamars.
Because of the Malamars.
Malamars. I've got bitch tits because of Malamars, if I recall.
Yeah.
And Dean, Hank is reluctant. And he's like, I don't want to do that. And Dean says, you can't get cooties Dean is reluctant. Hank's like, you can't get cooties from a dead person. He goes, not cooties, Hank, cluties, which I love that joke.
Yep. Dean wants to investigate the murder, but Hank has his eyes on the prize. Like, we're here, we're looking for, whatever piece of the doodad that we can find. And so they kind of compromise, thinking, hey, maybe his diary will have the answers that we need. Dear diary, another jury party ever across that, but oh, the bitches were in rare form tonight.
So him just keeping this diary is very good. They skip ahead to the list of toys he wishes he had as a lad, but weren't invented yet, which is so fucking, like, this guy's like 60. Like, this is so good. And just the delivery is very funny. Just like, Micronauts, Scooby-Doo monster game, Witch, at Imperial Walker, Stay Alive, the survival game.
God, and I know I said it before, but any reference to Stay Alive, the survival game.
Have you seen Witch?
Oh, it's really good. It's a fun like board game, right?
Witch looks cool as hell. Like I've never played Witch. They remade it as something called Ghost Castle, but it's got this awesome. It like you put up these fake cardboard walls and create this little mansion.
Oh, nice.
Like Witch looks badass as hell. I got to play Witch at some point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like the at Imperial Walker, like that was like a whole like play set because the inside of those things is fucking huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is Colonel Gentleman has
Here's
good
a
taste
list
in
of toys
toys.
that Cole wants.
Even though they were invented many years before he was born.
He was a lad.
But they're just more lists that that he has. And this is what they say. They go on and on. This is the diary. This crazy person's diary. There's nothing here, but Hank is just messing around with one of Colonel Gentleman's canes when this antenna-like device falls out. It's like a sword cane. It has like a hollow out on the side. This is the missing piece that they're looking for.
They just stumbled upon it.
Yeah.
JJ and the pirate captain are swimming to a bathysphere. There's under the sea. And you think that the captain sees something, goes, Jesus Jones.
Yeah.
And he goes, no, that was a band.
We thought that was going to be the future of rock and roll.
They sound incredible. Are they still around?
No,
not in a way anyone noticed. It's so good.
Yeah, but of course, the sea captain he went missing in like 1992. You probably would have thought that right here, right now was going to be the sound of the future.
Everything.
I had a college class. It was like college history. It's like a big gen ed one, so it was kind of bad. But it was like it was American history from like.
Of Jesus Jones.
It's relevant. Don't worry. But it was like post World War II to like present day, and like present day, in a general history class is like the era of globalization. So like it kind of ended in the 90s, and like in the last class session, like they just kind of played that song right here, right now, talking about living on the edge of history, saying like, in referencing the fallacious idea that, because the Soviet Union fell, all of a sudden we're at the end of history where all struggle is gone and we can just be prosperous. It's like,
very optimistic.
Fucking lol.
But yeah, I had a cousin who was like way into Jesus Jones and would play Jesus Jones constantly. And the thing that broke that spell was getting a techno remix of Cotton Eye Joe that was 9 minutes long, which he played on repeat every time I visited him. He was the biggest Cotton Eye Joe fan that's ever been. Yeah. And I heard that song way more than anyone should ever want to hear. So it was a huge step down from Jesus Jones.
Yeah. I mean, at least Jesus Jones is listenable.
Much more listenable than Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah. It is just funny that it was a young professor too. Like he wouldn't have been like especially, that song wouldn't have been especially relevant to him to just play right here, right now, to this group of disinterested college kids. But that's just a thing that history classes do. Like,
anything that it's like how you end up watching the Simpsons adaptation of The Raven.
Yeah.
In high school English, because like anything that is from outside education that references the subject is precious because it'll get kids' attention.
Yeah. Like in your high school history class, did you have to listen to and like read the lyrics to We Didn't Start the Fire? Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Now everybody write your own verse about stuff that happened now.
Yeah. Like, it's the mid-90s. You find something that rhymes with Ross Perot.
Oh man.
They get to Quest Bell, JJ Jr. requesting permission to board to get onto Quest Bell, and who lives here but Action Johnny, aka Johnny Quest, who is a strung out violent junkie. This turns into a Tarantino moment.
Yeah.
Here
they got somebody like from Pixar, like one of their old buddies, like came in and guest storyboarded this, like them in a standoff, like sidestepping around this bathysphere as Johnny is shakily pointing a gun at them. I love this performance. This is Brendan Small doing kind of his mumbly Nathan Explosion voice here a little bit. They have to call him Action Johnny at this point because I guess it's too far to make him into a junkie. Like we can have we can have what's his name, Race Bannon die on screen, but we cannot have
shit on
Johnny.
screen. But we can't have Johnny be a junkie.
Yes.
I like how the pirate captain has to take care of this. Like JJ is too naive.
Yes.
This whole thing. He's like, are you cops? And JJ's is like, no, I'm Jonas. He just goes into his thing. Yeah. He's like, Admiral, let me handle this one. No, we ain't cops.
Johnny flies off the handle when they mention his father. Like, hey, we're here looking for something your father left. You don't mention my dad.
He's just like losing his mind. And the pirate captain diffuses the situation by saying, you wouldn't want to kill a doctor, would you? And JJ being a square, like, oh, I'm not a medical doctor.
Right.
He plies him with prescriptions.
Yes.
That he can write them.
And Johnny breaks down because obviously he would be in real pain, either from withdrawals or
living in a bathysphere.
Living in a bathysphere. The horrible life that he's led. Like he is ruined.
Yeah, Johnny's, and I love that we follow up on this. One of my things I love about the show the most, no threads are left.
I mean, we got the pirate captain, the gag character, the gag villain from one episode who's a main character now.
Yeah. Anybody who the creators like and I happen to like will probably come back.
Yes.
So the cut forward in time, Hank and Dean have their piece. They're landing on the X2. JJ is really pissed because he wrote a fake, because the captain volunteered him to do something unethical.
Yes.
That he would not ordinarily do. But Rusty and Brock, they're having a rougher time here of it, and kind of sets us into a longer stretch of plot with these guys.
Yeah. So Rusty is having a psychedelic dream. He's flying in the air, attached to his dad's penis by an umbilical cord.
It's incredible. Just the image of this. And then it's like JJ being like, let me take a turn. Like he's like a kite and he bites the umbilical cord free and then starts flying Rusty like a kite, dragging him down. The metaphor is really obvious. Like, oh, I had it, like I was doing my dad's bidding and then JJ came and, one upped me. Yeah.
But Rusty wakes up like, oh, I thought I was done with those dreams.
Yeah.
But no, it's he's messed up.
Right when he says that, the Grand Galactic Inquisitor pops in and goes, that was a weird one. Which I
great. He can read my thoughts. Ignore me. Yes, I can.
So good. They're heading to Impossible Tower to get it because it stands, where Venture Industries used to be. And Brock is like, how are you going to get it? He's like, you forget, I have somebody on the inside.
And this is really fucked up. And
this is pretty dark.
Yeah, Brock rightfully calls it out several times. Yeah. But he's going to use Sally, the invisible girl's affection for him to get it, stringing her along, thinking that she's going to have a new life away from the horrible, abusive, forced, reclusiveness that Richard is putting her through. Really just playing with her emotions in a tremendously fucked up way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really fucked up.
Yeah.
And they call it out. It's the kind of thing that would be fucked up to, it'd be justifiable to save humanity.
Yeah.
To find this thing, but that's not, Rusty would have done this for.
Oh, he would have done it for $10.
Like he would have done it for like a minor government contract. Sally is there. She has a baby now, as we mentioned. She's, we know she's pregnant last time. And she wants to go to the store, and Richard's saying like, no, we can send somebody. You don't want to do that. He doesn't want her to leave the baby, Rocket, as a baby based on Franklin Richards, one of the most powerful people in the Marvel universe.
Yep.
With Ned, her cousin, because he's seen Of Mice and Men. He's like, why not leave him with Huggy?
Right.
The child rearing robot.
This causes Sally to lose her temper, not just because, he's insulting her brother, not just because, he is trying to keep her here. Richard will not call Rocket by name, just keeps on referring to him as the child. Right. And, she doesn't think that Huggy is a real substitute that's messed up. She says, we need real human affection. And Richard's obviously missing the point, saying, that's why I programmed a robot to simulate its sweetness.
Yeah. Really good delivery.
Yeah.
She says, let me go to him. It's like very, very heartbreaking. He's like, well, you like some company. So he sends her with bodyguards.
Yes.
Brock knocks them out, salutes Sally, and Sally gets onto a subway car that is empty except for Rusty.
Yes.
And she's overjoyed.
Yeah.
So the only thing that made my horrible life bearable was the hope that you would come back for me. And this was all, he had been emailing her or what have you.
Yeah.
Setting this up. Ned is going to take Rocket to the park to meet Hank and Dean as the idea, and she's going to get them in.
Yes. But we cut over to that. A bodyguard had followed them and knocks Ned out with a cattle prod.
Yes.
Fucked up thing to do, generally.
Yeah. Leaving the baby alone, which will lead to the baby and Grand Galactic Inquisitor, which is great. Rusty says, hey, before we can go live happily ever after, Snookums, I need access to the basement.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of like walking on clouds, bringing them in there. And Brock's like, this is wrong. This is pretty fucked up, Doc, even for you.
Yeah.
And I love Rusty being like, I've seen you like strangle a man with his own, optic nerve.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't break his heart. And Rusty's response is, you don't know that, which is pretty funny.
Technically true, which is the best kind of true.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of Brock breaking somebody's heart.
Very good.
By controlling him like a puppet with his optic nerve. Very good. It's
also a thing where, too, like if I, you don't want to have Brock telling you, hey, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Brock is, we've seen Brock do a lot of pretty fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that psychological torture isn't worse or not intense. I'm just saying
the specific morality that Brock operates under.
Yes.
It never gets as much attention as the horrible morality that guides Rusty, but it's definitely there. And the contrast, I think, is where that relationship lives or is most alive.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So Sally opens the elevator for them, but it doesn't go to the basement. It's been hijacked. It goes up to Richard's office where all of the Ventures, everybody has been captured, including the pirate captain and JJ, and they're put in these confinement chairs with like electric shackles and stuff.
Yeah. Rusty says, you're supposed to be our rescue party. And it's like, what about you? You had Super Kill Guy with you. You still got caught. I love JJ not really bothering, with Brock. Richard found the piece in the basement and he's like, I'm not going to hand it over. Because I had you in physics class. You were a daydreamer, a sass mouth, and not infrequently, a bit of a giggle puss. And I somehow doubt that 20 years of amphetamines and failure have managed to improve that.
I love that pair of lines because it really is, it's Stephen Colbert getting a chance to deliver the gag line, a bit of a giggle puss. And then there's like a pause. And then he goes on to actually deliver the comment about the way Rusty lives his life. Like, I was like, they could have just left it at a bit of a giggle puss, but no, Richard does have, a critique about Rusty's ability, to
reasonable
handle
one.
this. Yeah.
Like the idea that this should be in Rusty's hands is not, Professor Impossible is evil, but Rusty, not a good scientist.
He's evil, but he's pragmatic, right?
Yeah. Richard makes the device in some kind of portal, and Sally asks where Rocket is. And Richard's like, who? There's a really good delivery on the annoyed who, because he's doing science. Who? It's really, really good.
Yeah. JJ thinking, all right, well, we've got one card that we haven't played yet. He radios for helper by talking into his collar. Rusty's like, oh, good, he's bossing my robot around now. And then, I was like, do you seriously have a microphone in your collar? JJ, of course, again, because he gets around obstacles, like, what kind of idiot would strap his only means of communication to his wrist? They always tie you up.
Yeah.
You've been
really,
tied
really
up since you were a kid, dude.
JJ has Helper come in the security system, and we see, the impossible security system. Helper was in the X1 with the Grand Galactic Inquisitor. So after he leaves, the Grand Galactic Inquisitor kind of wanders out, and they play the nursery music that I love in the Venture Brothers as Rocket just walks up, and Grand Galactic Inquisitor is just looking at this baby. Very cute. Helper doesn't get very far, but then Huggy shows up, corners him. You think Huggy's going to be like Gardo.
Right.
Going to be a real threat.
No, just hugs him. And Helper's like, trying to fend him off.
He gets a nice little hug.
Yeah. So Richard is trying to put together this portal, as his wife is trying to make appeals to him. What could be more important than your family, Richard? Talking about Rocket being left behind, and Richard he can't even lie. He can't even come up with something. It is science.
Yeah, just JJ and Brock got loose at this point, and they screw his head to the wall, which is horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm Professor Richard Impossible. He starts inflating. I can do this, and inflates into big sides, pushing them out of the building.
Yeah.
They start falling, but they grab onto him, and he becomes kind of a bungee cord that goes down into the subway. This is a weirdly action-packed episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As this is happening, Sally falls loose, and JJ catches her with his jetpack, setting up that relationship. Mm-hmm. And Brock's quick thinking, he ties the part of Richard that they're spelunking on to the back of the subway train. So after the train continues forward, it exceeds his maximum weight limit.
Yes.
It's pulling him, so he loses control. The handle comes loose, comes up and smacks him in the face.
Yes. And everybody conveniently ends up back up in the impossible penthouse. With the portal, as the communicator watches beep, it is now midnight. The time has come.
Yes. The Grand Galactic Inquisitor shows up in a cab with Rocket. The cab driver's like, that'll be 1450. Ignore me. Really, really good.
Yeah.
And saves the baby.
Yeah.
And then I love this ending quite a bit.
Yeah.
The portal opens. Jonas Sr. emerges from it, just shoots the Inquisitor once.
Yeah.
And goes to leave.
Well, the Inquisitor makes a grand declaration, the time of judgment is upon us. Yeah.
Yeah. And he would have judged, the Earth as faulty based on, he's just been watching these dipshits. You imagine the person who's coming, to be the arbitrator of humanity, just hanging out with Dr. Venture all day.
Yeah.
Probably not great.
We need to scour this place clean so nothing hurts the rest of galactic civilization. Yeah.
Yep. And he just gets shot.
Yes.
Which I love the anticlimax there.
Yeah. Shot. He is the main threat after a whole episode of being ignored at his own demand.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah. And so this is pretty messed up. Here's Jonas. Yeah, we thought he died, but he apparently has gone off on these, galaxy spanning adventures and came back to save the world. He left this all here. And Rusty wants to ask, I've got so many questions. Why did you leave me alone? And he's like, oh, you're never alone. The stars are always looking down at you. Quote unquote Jonas, he drops the act really quickly. He's doing a contact thing.
Well, Rusty calls him out first.
Yeah.
He says, the stars are always with you, and everybody's kind of touched by this but he doesn't, he tells his dad off.
Right.
he gets a lot of catharsis here. He calls out his dad for being a horrible father.
Yeah.
Calls bullshit on that. And that's where, Jonas calls off the act.
Yeah.
He's like, look, you're not really your father. I took this form to stop you from freaking out while I solved, the whole exterminating all life on Earth problem for you. And Rusty's even more pissed here, about being used for this. And the alien goes, fine, would this be better? And shows his real face, and it's a large Marge moment.
Yeah. It cuts away. All that we see is everybody looking horrified as they're bathed with light. You get the sense they pulled his mouth open over his skull to reveal his true form or whatever. But
super scary.
Would that have been comforting? Imagine that coming at you out of nowhere.
Yep. So Rusty he leaves. Rusty is very disappointed because they went all around the world. They don't even get any money. They don't even have anything to show for it. And Brock is into it. He's kind of awed.
Yeah.
I don't know, Doc. We got to save the world.
We did kind of save the world. And Dean is like, oh, we got the big guy to shut up.
Yep.
Yeah.
They shot the Grand Galactic Inquisitor.
Yeah.
JJ says they finally work together as a family, and then we get our credits.
Yeah, they get a weird Go Team Venture where they high five instead of doing the V.
Yeah.
I didn't get that. Yeah.
Didn't like it. The post credits, Sally introduces herself to JJ, and they hit it off. He's like, "You're Sally Impossible," and they're hitting it off. They're hitting at each other, and the pirate captain, picks up what's being put down.
Yeah, you can almost hear the old humpbacks a calling. And Rusty is looking on this saying like, oh God, we dodged a bullet. Old Rusty doesn't do attachment or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, no wonder you're miserable and alone.
Yeah. Gross. Brock is still kind of in awe of this, confirmation of aliens and all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, you don't always see stuff like that. And you think he's talking about all of it, but he also points up to Richard Impossible, who's unconscious, tarp-like body is flapping in the wind.
like a flag from the top of the skyscraper.
Yeah, really, really creepy looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 20 years to midnight.
That's 20 years to midnight.
A really breathless episode.
Very breathless. Very good. Jams and a lot of stuff. One thing that I'm noticing that's kind of a weird thing on this rewatch is that I think in terms of being fun to talk about, and in terms of kind of like my anticipation for watching, a lot of the episodes that don't feature the Monarch are things I'm looking forward to a little bit more.
Yeah.
I like the weird villain of the weakness. I like having a chance to call in all these ancillary characters. Like the Monarch episodes have tons of classics. Like we're going to get to the end of the season, and get the Sovereign and all, Klaus Nomi and everything, like all these great things. But I just, I like that this deals with everybody else,
Yeah. Having the Monarch here, or the Monarch is specifically in season 2, and kind of like in season 3, kind of represents the meta plot more than anything.
Yeah.
Like things that happen with the Monarch are going to drive the change in the status quo for a while.
Yes,
and they don't necessarily intersect with what goes on with the main family. The main family gets to kind of go have their main adventures. Yeah, there's definitely like a bifurcation at this point between those two.
Yeah. And I really enjoy these kind of bringing in something for variety.
This is a really good showing for the Impossibles, I think. We don't have the season 1 awkwardness of Ice Station Impossible on this right here. And I think much like most things to do with the Marvel Universe, the Fantastic Four work best in concert as like a side dish for other things.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And this is, and also as like a big Marvel Universe guy, throwing in the Grand Galactic Inquisitor in this is kind of representing multiple, Marvel characters.
Yeah.
That was very fun for me to kind of like pick that out.
This is as galactic as it gets, right? Like they never really do much in space.
Other than like the space station stuff.
Right.
They have a space station, but they don't do that much stuff with aliens.
Right.
That's not like really a theme of the show. So it is pretty fantastical for the Venture Brothers.
Yeah.
And I also love the gear shift of the next episode, which is the opposite.
Yes.
It's all about guild stuff and everything. The next episode, which is Victor Echo November, our third and final guest episode of the season, we're going to be joined by Autumn Greer.
Yeah. Frequent guest on Radio Free Midworld. And delightful person all around. I'm very much looking forward to having her on here to talk about this. Yeah.
Huge fan of anyone with the last name Greer.
Yeah.
That I've met. Such a good family.
Yeah.
I love those people. Yeah. So thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you. If you like the show, the best way to support us is to go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. Get you some extra, early episodes, get extra shows, get access to the Slack, get all kinds of things depending on how generous you are able to be and how much you would like to spend.
Yeah. I would like to thank everybody who has gone and left a rating or review in Apple Podcasts or other directories. That does help us out. I know we always ask, you always hear about it on other shows. That trains the algorithm to surface us. So thank you to everybody who has done that for us.
We're two boys who love to be surfaced. So our famous sign off.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And until next time,
Go Team Venture.